Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining my webinar this morning. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining my webinar this morning. My name is Gideon Besaidnout. I'm an application engineer and a technical consultant for micrographics. If you have any questions or you would like to contact me, you can see my email below. It's gideon@mgfx.co.za. Today, the webinar will be about Inventor, generate files, and views for collaboration and digital fabrication. What is on the agenda for today? We have a small introduction. We will have a look at creating and validating 3D PDFs. We'll discuss shared views, look at drawing files and see how to set up files for the 3D printing, and we will close off the webinar with the conclusion. A small introduction. You get different file types we can use in collaboration, convey information with other users, and can use Inventor for 3D printing. Notice I have already created an iPod coupling that I will be using in this tutorial. When your part or assembly is open, the following steps need to be taken. To see the different file types you can export to for collaboration, validation, or so on. Click on the file type and go to export, and you'll notice there's different file types. First we've got the image, then PDF, 3D PDF, the CAD format, a Rivet file if you use and have rivets, export to drawing, export to DWF, and send to DWF. Images can be exported as BMP, JPEG, PNG, or TIFF files. What is the difference between the different file types? Both PNG and JPEG files are ideal for multiple web-based projects. BMPs are well-suited images that you can edit, and TIFF images is used for the sheer quality of prints. When exporting to image, the table on the right will ask you where you want to save the image, the file name, and on the drop down you can select the file type. So on the drop down menu right there. PDFs and 3D PDFs. Let's have a look at the PDF. This will export the part or assembly to a normal straightforward PDF. And a 3D PDF, this will export your part or assembly to a 3D environment. You can view different views and even measure the part. More will be explained at a later stage when I do actual live demo. CAD formats, Rivet, export to drawings. What is a CAD format? It's a file type such as Parasolids, Pro-E, or step files. What is a parasolid used for? Parasolid is a type of geometric modeling kernel that allows users to create and edit models. In addition to supporting native file formats, Pro Engineering also supports neutral file formats such as step and Pro-E files. These file formats are widely used in the CAD industry for data exchange between different CAD systems. You can export to Revit, and this incorporates the simplify command to produce a Revit model, having only the components and features needed for the Revit design. Export to a drawing. Here you can export the file to an AutoCAD drawing file. You can also see you do get your different AutoCAD version drawing files. Okay, we're quickly going to look at the 3D PDF demo. I'm just quickly going to close my PowerPoint and then I'll open up Inventor for you guys. As you can see, I've already created an iPod coupling in this case and for this example. And now let's have a look at the iPod coupling that has been created in Model Space. When you go to your File tab and you go to Export and you select 3D PDF. The Publish 3D PDF option tab will have some key information that we may want to include into our PDF. When we have a look at the Properties tab, you can include things like your title, your subject, your author, or even comments, and the list goes on and on. This is all depending on what you have actually included and set up in your drawing. Some of these might be blank when you print it to PDF. Like I said, it all depends on the way you set up your part and your revision numbers and if you made any comments on those. The design view representations, that's your different views that you want to include perhaps into your 3D PDF. For instance, your isometric, your front, your top, or your right. You can set up your visual quality and the saved location. So visual quality will be over here. You can change your quality to low, medium or high, or you can change your file location. Just one thing that's very important to remember, Inventor actually has its own 3D PDF template. In this case, I will choose to view the PDF when finished so that I can explain and walk through some of the functions when we are in the 3D PDF. The next step, I'll choose the Publish. You'll notice that it's creating the 3D PDF at the moment. When the 3D PDF was created, you will notice that it looks blank. It looks like there's nothing available. It looks like an empty document. You will need to click on the options menu and trust the document. So you go to options and you trust document and you just give it a few seconds and you'll notice it will actually load in. As you can see at the bottom, you actually have your different view types that I have selected. The first different option we will look at is the orbit option. As you can see, when I go to the top, you'll see there's an orbit option with a drop-down menu. Here you can rotate or spin, you can pan or even zoom in, and you've got your 3D measuring tools available. and you can add 3D comments. So let's have a look at your 3D measuring tool. Just going to say OK. Notice that you've got specific snaps that you can enable and different measuring types. As you can see, I'm actually just doing a normal measurement, and this allows anyone who views the PDF actually to do specific measurements that they can see. If I click on the center point over here and I'll go to the top, notice there's quite a few measurement options that they can do, and they can also use the measuring options in your different view types that you get from your top view, your right view. So it's quite a handy tool for someone to look at the collaboration aspects of this. And let's, for instance, say you need to send a drawing to an engineer for approval, and they've got Adobe Acrobat Reader on their cell phone. You can email this to them and they can quickly measure a few things and see if they're happy and if they want to approve it. Next, we'll have the Home tab that will just put it back to the default home view. Right next to that tab, you will see there's the different view types. One of the important things is the toggle model tree. When you select your toggle model tree, notice on the left side it opens a browser window. This is actually quite helpful when you have a assembly of different parts. In my example, I only have one part, but when you have an assembly, your different parts will actually show up here, and you can actually select your individual parts, and then you can have a look at them in more detail. Next, we're going to have a look at the model rendering. Here we've got a few options that you can choose from. As the solid option, you get your solid wireframe option, and you also do get your normal wireframe option. There's quite a few options you can play around with and choose. You'll notice that we also have a lighting option. This is if you want to, for instance, use different light colors, light shades. You can browse through them and it will change the light color. You'll also be able to change your background color, for instance. If you do not like the white, you can change your background color. This is also quite a handy tool, and this is a cross section. This actually shows you a section view of the part. This is also quite handy because you can have a look on what's going on the inside of the part. One of the views, my front view, did not actually show the keyway over here. So when you do section files, the engineer or whoever is looking at this item will actually be able to notice this. For instance, if you did not include your right view. Also quite a handy tool. When you click on your drop down, you'll see there's a cross section properties. Here you can actually change your different views, your different section planes. And there's quite a few options. You've got a display option where you can show your intersections, you can show your cutting plane, ignore selected parts. That's especially handy when you do full assemblies that's got multiple parts. You can choose your plane opacity. You can align the camera with the cutting plane. You can offset or tilt. So there's quite a few options. So if I'm going to leave it on the y-axis, and I'm going to let me orbit a bit, choose the rotate. As you can see, it actually cuts the coupling in half, so you can have a little bit more detail of actually what's going inside. And you also actually see now what the rotate does. Also quite a handy tool. If you right click on the part, you'll see you've got certain options and certain tools that's available for you. You've got your part options where you can show your parts or fit visible part rendering mode. You've got your specific tools, specific views, viewing options. When you have an animation, you can actually play your animation or pause your animation. You can hide your model tree. You can run a JavaScript. So this is also quite a lot of detail that you can do with a 3D PDF. Notice when you right click below the notes bar, just below it, you will have different options. In this different options, you can add sticky notes. You can select an area and crop it. You can print from here. You can use the pan tool. You can add it as a bookmark. You can edit a PDF, add text, add image. Also a very quite handy tool. So this is some of the information and things you can do with a 3D PDF. There's quite a few options you can do. As you can see, is some of the titles and blocks that I have included, and as I mentioned, some of them are empty because I did not set it up in my model. I'm not going to save the PDF. Let's have a look at the DWF, the design web format, the export to DWF. The publish options, you'll notice you've got an express, a complete and a custom. The express tool, the DWF file includes a view of the current state of the active document. The complete option, the DWF file, includes all members and member tables. Custom. When you select the custom option, you'll notice that you've got another tab open called the iPart. When you choose custom and when you select the custom publish options, you'll have an extra tab available. If you have an assembly open, it will give you various options of the assembly, what you want to include from your assembly, certain parts, presentations, and so on. In this instance, I have an iPart, so notice the options I have in the last tab. As you can see in the last tab, I've got only the options of my two couplings that I've created, and as different sizes drawn with different parameters, and that's the options I've got that's available. Shared views. What is shared views? This can be used as a collaboration tool where you can collaborate with other team members, for instance stakeholders, other designers, or even engineers. Here you can work as a team on visual representation of the model. You can access this view on any device without installing any Autodesk products. About the shared view, a shared view is an online visual representation of the view of the model or design. Just take note that a shared view has an expiry date, which is 30 days. That's one of the big differences between a shared view and the 3D PDF. If you've got Acrobat Professional, you can actually edit the PDF. So it's got its ups and it's got its downs. Now let's have a look at where and how to access your shared views. There are two main ways you can access the panel to shared views. On your ribbon on Inventor, you can go to Collaborate and Shared Views. The second option, you can go to File, Share, and choose Shared Views. Generating a shared view. In this example, I'll be using the same iPod coupling. First, we will go to the Collaborate tab and select the shared view. Secondly, the following tab will appear on your right, as you can see, where you can actually name your part. You also have the options to hide the component's name and hide part properties. After you fill in your details, you can choose to hide the component name and hide the properties, and you can select Share. A generated share view. After you selected the share view, you will notice this pop-up will appear. That means that the shared view was successfully generated and uploaded. When it has been completed successfully, the pop-up will show with the part and will state successfully uploaded, as you can see. Here you will have two options. Option number 1 will let you view the part in the browser as seen on the right. This will open the part in a web browser with Autodesk Viewer. I will be explaining a bit more in detail about the functionality of the web browser and the separate tools that's available in the viewer. Option 2, this will allow you to copy the link to your clipboard, which you then can email for an example to different personnel that's involved in the project, for instance like stakeholders, other drafts personnel, engineers, and that's for verification, markups, or approval, or if they even just want to view the part before manufacturing happens. What is some of the tools that's available in the viewer? What is the capability of the viewer? Let's dive in a bit more on what some of those tools do and what do they mean. When we have a look at the views, when a design was exported with multiple views, this allows you to navigate through the different views. The model browser Usually an assembly has multiple different parts with different geometry. The browser gives you a user interface to navigate through the model, and you can search specific parts. Hide or select certain parts of your assembly. The Properties tab includes information such as your part numbers, type of material, mechanical properties, any data about the design. The Comments over here allows collaborators to give feedback, and it is possible to export the comment history for documented purposes. So good to know for quality control. As you'll notice, there's quite a few different options and tools available. Like you can print, you can screenshot, you can pan, zoom or orbit, you can measure, you can section, and you can explode or mark up the view. The navigational tools, what do they do? They work the same way as the navigational tool palette in Inventor. So you get your home, this returns the design back to its default state and the camera angle. The fit ensures that the entire design is visible. Orbit rotates the camera around a 3D view. Pan slides the camera from side to side and top to bottom. And first person gives users the ability to explore buildings as if they were walking and looking around. Now let's have a look at the other tools that's available in the Autodesk Viewer. For instance, the measuring tool. Measure the distance between 2 points or an angle between 3 points. You can select the measuring units, for instance, millimeter, the precision in the settings tab. That's just some of the options that's available. So if you click on your unit on the drop down, you'll see you'll be able to look in millimeters or inches and so on. The section tool. The section tool cuts through a design along the axis or plane. The explode separates model geometry to allow users to see individual parts of the design, and the markup lets users add feedback with text and drawing tools. As you can see in my example, I just added a note, for instance, add 2 holes. So it's a good tool to use for markup. The types of drawing files. You get your image. The drawing files, it's when you're not in your model space or your browser or your work plane. That's when you have created your drawing already. You'll see that you can import it to or export it to image, PDF 2D. You won't be able to export to 3D PDF because on paper it's only a 2D visual presentation. You can export to DWG, export to DWF, and send to DWF. When converting the part to a STL file, it is important to take note that you need to be in model space. Very important, you need to be in model space. What to do when you are in model space? Quick, easy steps to follow. You click on the File tab, scroll down until you find the Print option, hover over the print option, and to the right select the 3D print preview option. As you can see, you go to your file, print and 3D print preview option. Let's have a look at your different options that's available. You can send it directly to a 3D print service or save a copy. When you move to the right, you have the option to show or hide facet edges. You'll be able to see the file size to the right. As you can see the file size. To open the facet edges or hide or show, you just click on that button over there. STL file save as options. The different options that's available when you select the option tab with the format options, you can select between binary and ASCII, as you can note over there. The keywords ASCII and binary indicates whether the rest of the file is in a human readable ASCII text format, where the binary files are smaller than the text files, but files that are in text format can be edited manually. Next we'll look at your units tab. Here you can choose between a variety of units, for instance millimeter or inch, and on your resolution. So before we go to resolution, on your drop down you'll see that's where you can choose all your different measurements from centimeters, millimeters, inch and foot. When we look at the resolution, you can choose between high, medium or even custom. After you have set your customization and requirements, you can send it to a 3D printing service, or you can save it as a STL file. As you can see, format options, you get your binary, your ASCII, you'll select units, you get your millimeters. When you go on your drop down, you get your centimeters, foot and inch, and your different customizations for your resolution. One very important thing to take note of and to remember, Inventor comes with its own 3D PDF template. And if you want to edit that template, you will need to have Adobe Acrobat Professional. That's the only way you will be able to edit the 3D PDF template. That's also one of the downfalls, is because you can edit the PDF. When you go to your Inventor and you go to your Get Started tab, your home page and your tutorial gallery, you'll actually find there's a tutorial called 3D PDF template editing. You can download the tutorial and you'll watch it. It's actually in Inventor, so that's also quite a handy thing to have, and it will quite assist most of the questions that I've even noticed. And one of the questions is, how do you edit the template? There's a nice tutorial in Inventor that you guys can follow if you want any more information about creating 3D templates. We on the conclusion of our webinar. The conclusion is basically you can create, validate, annotate 3D PDFs, drawing files and files for 3D printing, shared views of components and project files, and it's a great way of doing collaboration with multi-team members, shareholders, engineers, or even different draftsmen. If you've got a big drafting team and different draftsmen work on certain parts of an assembly, it's also a great way for collaboration. Thank you guys for joining my webinar this morning. If you guys have any more questions or would like any more information, you're more than welcome to contact me, or you can even send an email to info@mgfx.co.za. You can visit our website www.mgfx.co.za. Thanks for joining this morning, and I hope you guys have a lovely day further. And please, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to get into contact. And if you liked this video, please like and subscribe for more content. Thank you.